European community and host for the 2000 Magic the Gathering Team World Championship. You know, over 50 teams from around the world will converge on the Brussels Exhibition Center, where $250,000 US is on the line in total prize money. Now, Team USA is a complete juggernaut, but strong teams from Austria, Germany, and the Netherlands will try and derail the Americans from retaining their title. Well, the quest begins. Will Team USA again take home the title and reign supreme with their captain John Finkel? Or will another nation rise up and claim the victory?
The team with the best shot of taking down the Americans is probably the Norwegian team. They have two really good players in Sigurd Eskeland and Nikolai Hertzog. They perform consistently well.
It's always hard to take out Americans because Americans get always a really good team. The country is big and the players are really good.
I think the States has the best players in the world. They have the most players in the world and they are serious about their game, and it's just US Nationals is a very hard competition, and whoever wins that or makes the team has to be good.
Definitely the Germans or the Canadians have the best shot of taking down the Americans this year. Both countries are really strong teams. I think we can give them a go.
The Americans are probably favorites overall in the team competition if you had like a book on odds or something. But I've noticed that their team unity is nothing compared to Team Canada's.
By default, I'd have to say the American team is going to win. I think that it's a weaker team than we've had before, so I think it's anybody's game, and I think the rest of the world has gotten much better.
I think that America is expected to win, and there's a little bit of animosity from the other countries, not so much personal issues, but it would be a great thrill, I'm sure, for one of the European countries or one of the Asian countries to dethrone America.
I think the Canadians want to win the World Championship again. Americans have had it for a couple of years, and we need it back, I think, at that end.
The Magic the Gathering World Championship consists of 3 days of individual competition and an additional day of national team competition. The first 18 rounds both contribute 60% of the points toward their respective teams' totals and determine the top 8 that will compete for the individual title. Then on day 4, the countries square off as 4-person teams. After 4 days and 24 rounds of grueling preliminary competition, the first and second place teams advance to the finals, where they play off using the standard decks that help get them there. From its inception less than 8 years ago to selling more than 10 million cards in less than 6 weeks, Magic has come a long way. It is now printed in 9 languages worldwide. Let's take a moment to learn more about this game. Magic is a trading card game. The object is to reduce your opponent's score from 20 to 0. To do that, players send their creatures against each other in waves, always seeking a lapse in the defense or an opening to exploit. To get you up to speed, here are the 3 basic types of cards. Creature cards attack and damage the opposition, and they can be used to block attacks. Then you have spell cards, each with an effect on the game that helps you or hinders your opponent. Land cards are the resources. With more land in play, the creatures get bigger and the spells get more devastating. Magic requires planning, tactics, and the ability to think fast. They say you can learn how to play immediately, but mastering the game can take a lifetime. The first place team splits $22,000, while second place can console themselves with $12 grand, $8,000 for third and fourth.
Dear Magic the Gathering, I'm returning your stupid goblin card. He's weak. Can't you make him less of a weenie? Signed, Jason Black.
Giant growth.
Magic the Gathering, the trading card game.
Well, Jason, what do you think?
The edge in the gym, at work. Welcome back to the Brussels Exhibition Center and the 6th annual Magic the Gathering World Team Championship. Let's go to Randy Buehler for more of the preliminary rounds.
Team USA clinched its berth in the finals early, but there was a knockdown, drag-out fight for second. While the disappointed Norwegians watched from the middle of the pack, the Austrians came into the final day in second place. Then the Dutch, Finns, and Czechs all made a run. Team Canada was in 11th place with just 5 rounds to go, but with Gabe Sang calling all the shots and building all the decks, they clawed their way up the leaderboard. In a tense final preliminary round, Canada knocked off Germany to earn the right to face off in the finals against the Americans.
National champions John Finkel and Ryan Fuller square off. If the teams split their 4 matches, Finkel and Fuller will play again in a tiebreaker. Chris Benefiel will try to continue his hot streak against Canadian wonder kid Murray the Mauler Evans in what many consider to be a tough deck matchup. Unknown Frank Hernandez has to be feeling some pressure as he makes his Pro Tour debut against seasoned veteran Gabe Sang, the heart and soul of the Canadian team. The final pairing pits the elder members of these two teams. Sam Lau adds composure, and Aaron Forsythe adds a touch of humility. Here's Randy and Brian with the decks.
John Finkel was playing a mono blue Tinker deck that was, ironically, inspired by a deck that made top 8 at Canadian Nationals. It's designed to generate large amounts of mana on turn 3 or 4, and then uses it to put enormous artifacts and creatures into play.
Ryan Fuller is playing a classic Stompy deck. It's only a few cards away from the one he used to win Canadian Nationals and earn his invitation to Worlds. Traditionally, Stompy has trouble dealing with the artifacts in the Tinker deck. Fuller will probably need to draw multiple Utabi Orangutans to win this match. Let's get started with the game.
All right, Ryan Fuller has put Vine Dryad into play, and he's now enhanced it with Rancor. Vine Dryad's a creature that can be cast as an instant, so he was able to play it at the end of Finkel's first turn. It also can be cast simply by removing a green card from the game. So Finkel went first, but again on his first turn, Ryan Fuller's able to attack with a 3-power creature.
Yeah, that was pretty huge there for Fuller. He wants to get off to a fast start, put Finkel under some life pressure, and attacking with a 3-3. What better way to do it?
Yeah, Ryan Fuller's playing a very aggressive green creature deck, a Stompy deck, trying to just get as many fast, big creatures into play. Pretty small creatures, but they can hit pretty hard when you make them big with Rancor. John Finkel, on the other hand, is playing a Tinker deck, so he can do explosive things with large amounts of mana, like the Metal Worker that he just cast. Metal Worker can tap to... Metal Worker's pretty good, I think is what John's trying to say.
Yeah, Metalworker is really good, especially on the second turn. After Sappers and Scary, getting that Metalworker out there is going to be huge. He'll be able to tap that thing for probably 6, maybe even 8 mana.
Oh, wow. Shows 5 artifacts. He gets 2 mana for each artifact he reveals when he taps the Metalworker.
And the worst part about this, Randy, is one of them is Voltaic Key. So he'll be able to play the key and untap the Metalworker and use it again.
Yep, there is the Voltaic Key we've been talking about. Voltaic Key, artifact. For 1 mana, you can tap it to untap some other artifact. Yeah, like Metalworker.
16.
Wow. 16 mana floating in Finkel's mana pool.
14.
Boy, any way you cut this, Fuller's in real trouble.
God.
And
And I have 16 mana? 16.
Fuller not very happy. There's Phyrexian Colossus.
Yep.
8/8 creature. It costs 7 mana. It's an 8/8 creature. Hard to untap. You have to pay life to untap it, but when you have Voltaic Key lying around, you can just use that to untap it.
That's absolutely right. Shows the really good synergy of the Tinker deck.
I don't need to go for the kill yet.
Finkel also puts Phyrexian Processor into play, paying 5 life, so that he'll be able to use it to create 5/5 token creatures. And the last of his mana is going to be used just to put a token into play.
Yeah, those processor tokens are just huge.
That's cool.
Fuller says calmly, that's cool.
Everyone.
Tanglewire versus... Yep, there's Tanglewire. Up.
Fire, Colossus, that Metalworker.
Colossus comes over for 8. Token comes over for 5.
All pretty much made possible by that third turn metal or second turn Metalworker.
You're right, you're right. Is there anything Fuller can do to get out of this?
Difficult to imagine. Difficult to imagine, Randy. Maybe the orangutan. I don't know. Maybe try to get enough creatures out there to use like Wild Might or Giant Growth or something like that, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, Fuller's only at 7, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie here, Ryan. It's looking bad for you. I'm not gonna lie here. Right?
All right, there's Uktabi Orangutan. That'll slow the bleeding. Takes out the Colossus, otherwise he would die to it next turn.
Go ahead. End your turn. 2. Token. Yep.
Finkel makes another minion token. Each of those little beads represents a 5/5 creature. Fuller's only got 7 life to play with. He'll be forced to block one of them with Uktabi Orangutan. The other one will hit him for 5, and then I don't know what he's got up his sleeve for next turn.
Pass. Right. Yep. Take 5.
Uktabi takes 1 for the team.
2. Your turn. You're putting Tango Iron in his deck? Yeah. In response, I'll capture that poach. Yeah.
Game and match.
All right, Ryan Fuller scoops up his cards. John Finkel takes a quick 1-0 lead on behalf of Team USA. Game 2 was a little closer. Fuller got off to a fast start and dealt some early damage. However, once Finkel got Masticore into play, Fuller's offense slowed to a crawl. Fuller still didn't have any answers, and Finkel finished him off to stake Team USA to an early 1-match lead.
When we come back, we'll see if Canadian Murray the Mauler Evans can put a dent in the Americans' confidence.
I think we're going to play about 45 minutes, and then we're just going to walk away with $5,500.
I'm going to have to agree with the team captain. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to mash them, honestly. It's going to be pretty savage.
I'm not sure it's such an easy victory, but I'm sure it will be a victory nonetheless. Matchups seem very favorable to us.
I don't think it's going to be very easy for me to lose this match. Like, I think maybe if I started a game with 5 cards, we'd be up there. Ryan just doesn't have much of a chance in this matchup.
John Finkel takes a quick 1-0 lead on behalf of Team USA.
We have Aaron Forsythe up here, one of these CMU guys from Pittsburgh. You know, a little bit older than the average Magic player. Wiser. Down decks, and well, yesterday, you know, he just didn't lose a match, so I don't see a reason why it's good. And Frankie serves some savage beats with his Stompy deck. Hopefully today he'll basically what the real country is.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna beat Gabe up, so that's a quarter of the wins we need.
Chris Benefal, first year on this Pro Tour, made 2 second places. Really good finish. He's from Seattle originally, lives in Oregon. Likes to play.
I just don't want to let my country down. The US has taken it every year but one. I think we'll take it again this year. It'll be good.
I think it's good to be expected to win. It puts some pressure on you. Easy to play from the underdog position, you know, but hey, also gives an excuse to lose. You know, we weren't expected to win. You know, when you're expected to win, if you lose, you're like letting people down. So I prefer to be expected to win.
Chris Benefel is playing the same mono-red land destruction deck he piloted to second place at U.S. Nationals. His goal is to prevent his opponent from ever playing any spells by depriving them of most of their lands. Benefel posted a 6-0 record with this deck in the preliminary competition, but he faces a stiff challenge in his next match.
The Mauler is running a swarm of small green creatures, otherwise known as Stompy. His version differs from Fuller's by including Blastator and Saproling Burst. His deck is a little slower, but has more staying power. Against Benefel, his Regenerators, River Boa, and Albino Troll will be the key.
Chris Benefel has already won Game 1 on behalf of Team USA, and we're now going to watch Game 2 of this match between Benefel on your left and Murray Evans of Team Canada on your right. Murray Evans finished second at Canadian Nationals, 13 years old when he did it. They call him the Mauler because like 3 years earlier, a 10-year-old kid took out Ularade, who at the time was one of the top players on the Pro Tour, and they've been calling him the Mauler ever since. And the Mauler can play. Only 13, or he's 14 now, but he's decided to go pro. Gave up his eligibility for some of our junior events, and now he's here at Worlds playing, trying to become World Team Champion. His opponent is Chris Benefel, who finished second at the U.S. National Championships. Benefel's playing a mono-red land destruction deck called Panza. Murray Evans is playing a Stompy deck, similar to the one Ryan Fuller's playing. Not quite the same, but quite similar. What do you think of this matchup?
Well, it's difficult to say. I think beforehand, maybe a lot of people thought that maybe Murray Evans would have the advantage. Stompy usually has a lot of creatures. Sometimes it's difficult for Ponza to deal with. The land destruction is not quite as relevant because so many of the creatures are low on mana. But Chris Benefeld managed to win game 1, so maybe all the pundits are wrong, and maybe this one's going to go to Benefeld.
P2 and Canton.
Okay.
Seal of Fire.
All right.
Go ahead.
I will untap. I'll play Echo.
Yep.
Draw a card. I'll play land.
Yep.
Cast Rancor on Albino Troll.
Oh my. Okay. Albino Troll goes large with Rancor.
Okay.
Crunch.
5 damage.
That's a 5/3 creature.
Are you done?
And if, yeah, Rancor gives it +2/+0. Even if the Albino Troll dies, the Rancor will go back to Evans' hand.
Yeah, this looks like a fabulous, absolutely incredible draw for Murray Evans
well,
right
let's
now.
see if Albino Troll survives this turn, right? Benefeld does have a number of ways in his deck to deal 3 points of damage. He has Hammer of Bogardan. If Evans gets to untap once, I doubt he'll ever be tapped out again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Benefeld says go ahead.
Yeah, this looks really, really good for Murray Evans right now.
So the Canadians finally starting to put up a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Canadians have a lot of heart. They were almost completely out of this competition on like day 3 of Worlds. Comes down to it on Saturday, they put up a huge run, mostly led by Gabe Sang and Ryan Fuller. And with that huge run, they're now in the finals against the United States, and they could actually win it all. So I'm not surprised to see them really putting up a fight here. They've got a lot of heart.
Yeah, the Canadians are the only team other than the United States to ever win this competition.
And I'll tell you who was on that team when they did it, Randy.
Team?
It was none other than Gabe Sang. And Gabe
point.
Sang's an incredible player. I think that having him on the team is what allowed them to make the finals here.
Having the Mauler didn't hurt either.
Oh, no. The Mauler's incredible.
Benefeld casts Avalanche Rider.
Targeting your treetop village.
That'll destroy the Mauler's treetop village.
Go ahead.
But Benefeld's still having trouble dealing with a 5/3 regenerator.
Keep.
No.
Draw a card. I will declare an attack.
Okay.
I will attack you.
Block.
Okay, I will assign 2 to the Avalanche Riders, 3 trample to you.
Yep. Done.
Avalanche.
Trample damage, you're down to 7.
Benefeld falls to 7 from the trample damage. Didn't want to pay the upkeep on the Avalanche Rider next turn anyway, so the damage.
Yeah, it's a good play on Benefeld's part. Also, if Evans taps out for something, Benefeld could use the
Seal of Fire.
Yeah, the Seal of Fire to destroy the.
Yeah, it's gonna fall
No,
on that.
I don't think the Mauler is going to.
Game 1, the Americans actually won game.
We're back in Belgium with more Magic the Gathering. Canadian Gabe Sang is trying to become the second person ever to be a member of 2 World Championship teams. Let's get to know Team Canada.
We think we definitely have a really, really close matchup with the Americans. We figure this could be the second time the Canadians win it.
Our chances in the final are definitely better than any other team that could have possibly played against the United States. I would say we could easily be the favorites.
If we win, I'll be quite happy because this will be the second time any team's ever beat the Americans in the finals, and last time it was also the Canadians. So it would be nice to be thought of as probably the second best country at Magic in the world. Gabe Sang is he was on the one team that actually beat the Americans, so he's definitely good to have him on our team again this year.
I would consider my matchup to be first game, definitely favorable towards Frank Hernandez. Plus, I believe I can outplay him just flat out. So I believe I win.
Murray is 14 years old. Sort of never seen him before. He came out and came second at our nationals, and definitely a real strong player for his age.
I think it's not going to be too hard for me to beat him. It's possible. When I played him in the Team Swiss, he was trying to like trash talk me and trying to get me not to concentrate on the game, and it didn't work for him.
Sam Lau, I've known him for a few years. Also played in our nationals. Definitely another asset to our team.
I think my matchup will be very close. with Aaron Forsyth. I've played him before in a past Pro Tour, and I know he's a good player. It could come down to something as simple as the die roll to see who goes first.
We just have just fair matchups. There's no real weakness on their team. We're just gonna do the best we can against them. We've just got 4 close matches, all 4 of us. It's probably gonna wind up 2-2.
When we left Game 2, Chris Benefeld was desperately in need of an albino troll answer. To deprive Evans of the ability to regenerate the troll, Benefeld just played tectonic break, forcing both players to sacrifice 2 lands.
Well, it puts Benefeld in a weird position because his land can block the albino troll next turn. But the only problem with this plan is that the Mauler's got this big albino troll, and this albino troll is coming this direction. That's going to put Benefeld at 2. Okay. So Benefeld really can't tap out. He can't do anything until that albino troll's off the board. Oh, and drawing a land there was pretty huge for the Mauler. Oh, that's really big, actually. That's really big. That keeps Benefeld from being able to try to block and use the Seal of Fire on the albino troll.
Go ahead.
So it'll be interesting to see what Evans actually does with that Lyris next turn. That'll tell us a lot about what's in his hand.
This is true, but Benefeld's just in a really bad position because he can't tap his mana for anything. He's got to just leave him out there. So it's got to be advantage the Mauler in the long run.
It's true. Yeah, Evans can just wait. Benefeld's pretty much stuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Benefeld casts anything, then the Mauler can just maul him. Benefeld has land number 4. It's Rashad in port.
Go ahead.
Just says done. So, no, Evans did not Lyris away the Seal of Fire.
That's
he
interesting.
just started his turn. Why not Lyris away the Seal of Fire? Is he worried about Shock, maybe? Now that Benefeld has a 4th land, Shock does the same thing as Seal of Fire. But if Benefeld had a Shock, he'd just kill the troll. He would have just thrown them both at the troll. Was that a mistake?
Oh.
Uh-oh. Giant growth on albino troll. So Evans is trying to make the troll 8-6.
That's right. So basically, he's just called Benefeld out. He says, do you have the Shock or not? Because if Benefeld doesn't have the Shock, this game's over.
I don't think Benefeld has the Shock.
Yeah, if Benefeld's got a Shock, it's going to get played pretty quickly. If he doesn't, this game's over, and the Mauler's going to take him to 3.
All right, 8-6 albino troll coming over. Get to encampment and Seal of Fire are not good enough.
Attack you.
Sure looks like Benefeld's going to take enough trample damage to even this game at 1 apiece.
Okay. It's 1-1 game for Evans.
And it's 1-1. Murray Evans takes the first game on behalf of Team Canada.
Benefeld couldn't deal with Treetop Village or Rancor in the deciding Game 3 and fell to Murray Evans 2-1. That evens the overall match at Team USA 1 and Team Canada 1. Next, we'll look in at the Gabe Sang-Frank Hernandez match, where Hernandez is currently up 1-0.
$200,000 is on the line in New York as the Pro Tour begins its 6th season.
Frank Hernandez is playing a deck he likes to call Old Stomps, another variant of the Stompy deck we saw in the first 2 matches. Hernandez is really fond of Land Grant, a card shunned by both Fuller and Evans, because he can use it to either get a forest or to put Vine Dryad into play.
They call Gabe Sang the Juggernaut because once he's on a roll, he's almost impossible to stop. He's legendary at Magic events for playing team drafts at all hours of the night. This mono blue deck allows him to take full advantage of his skill and experience controlling the game with counterspells, Mastercore, and more fire. Hernandez took game 1, but now Sang has sideboarded Submerge and Somnifor into his deck, and it's a whole new ballgame.
Turn 1 Wild Dogs. That's a 2-power creature. That's a pretty aggressive start. Wild Dogs, 2/1 creature. The drawback is if your opponent has more life than you, the dogs head for the other team. And we saw these were in Murray Evans' deck, and he just had to sideboard them out against Chris Benefeld. If your opponent has any way to deal just a little bit of direct damage, the dogs turn traitor. Against Gabe Sang's mono blue deck, though, they're an excellent turn 1 play.
Go.
Sang plays the second island and says done. Hernandez fingering that forest. He looks tempted by Rancor. If Sang has Submerge, though, Submerge's response to Rancor is bad news for Frank Hernandez. Oh, there it is!
Submerge!
There it is. That was huge.
That was awesome.
Because Sang has an island and Hernandez had a forest, Submerge could be cast for free, returned Wild Dogs to the top of Frank Hernandez's library, and Rancor just fell off, went to the graveyard. And Rancor only returns to Hernandez's hand if it goes to the graveyard from play. Never quite got into play. That Rancor's gone for the rest of the game.
That was absolutely huge. That
Exactly
was huge.
how Sang wanted the game to go.
Despite the mulligan, that gives Sang a definite chance to win this game.
That one was.
That was a pretty good Submerge.
Oh yeah, that's as much as you can ask for.
Go.
A surprise.
Hey, I wonder what Hernandez drew that turn.
I think it was a wild though.
There's Guy's Cradle.
Wild Dogs.
Here comes the Wild Dog again.
Okay.
Riverboa.
Okay.
Hernandez asking permission for each of his spells.
19.
Sang's deck is loaded with counter magic,
Good turn.
loaded with ways to say no. Hernandez feels obligated. May I have a Riverboa, sir? Okay. Riverboa's not good news for Sang.
No, I'm wondering if Sang
he's-
does have that Somnophore, because it seems a little strange that he would have let the Riverboa and the Wild Dog through.
True, it's unlikely that he has no permission in his hand. Although, it's only counterspell itself, which would have been convenient to use that turn.
Go ahead.
Ooh, no
Up in your
Somnophore.
upkeep. Report your Gaze Cradle.
Let's try this again. Rancor.
Oh, no! Submerge number
Wow.
16. Good turn.
How many cards do you have?
2.
Wow. Hernandez asking, let's try this again.
3.
Still doesn't work.
3 cards.
Five mana. Treachery.
Oh, what a turn! Treachery's the Riverboa and drops a Somnophore. That's the Juggernaut.
That is the Juggernaut. Wow, so Somnophore, whenever Somnophore attacks, he can choose one of Hernandez's creature, and that creature will not untap as long as Somnophore is in play. And given Hernandez's deck list, Somnophore is in play for the rest of the game. It's impossible for Hernandez to get Somnophore off the table, except by scooping up his own cards and moving on to game 3. A few turns later, that's exactly what Hernandez did. Then in game 3, Hernandez was able to play 3 Rushwood Legates on the second turn, but Sang answered with second turn Grim Monolith and third turn Mastercore. In the end, gave Sang emerged victorious, giving Canada a 2-1 lead. We'll be right back. Aaron Forsythe is playing a red-green beatdown deck he named Angry Hermit. Many Worlds competitors chose to replace the Deranged Hermits and Skyshroud Poachers in this deck with Blastoderms and Earthquakes, but Forsythe stuck to his guns and played the version that got him here. Team USA needs him to win this match to take the team match to a tiebreaker.
Sam Lau is playing a mono blue deck very similar to that of his teammate and fearless leader, Gabe Sang. Submerge should be good for Lau after sideboarding. Forsythe has a lot more threats than Hernandez had against Sang. If Lau can pull off a win here, then Team Canada completes a stunning upset victory. Will Team USA do what they are expected to do, or can Canada pull off the upset? It's time to find out.
Canada is up 2-1, but in this match, Aaron Forsythe of the United States has won the first game. best 2 out of 3. If Forsyth can win one of the next 2 games, he sends it to a tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker is national champions, John Finkel against Ryan Fuller. Sam Lau is trying to be the 3rd consecutive Canadian to come back and take both Game 2 and Game 3. Lau's looking his open at hand. Forsyth just staring over at him. It must not be good.
I'm fine.
But he decides to keep it. Forsyth picks up his own cards. Seems pretty happy with him. Aaron Forsyth is playing his own trademark deck, the Angry Hermit deck. Nobody had any idea what this deck was until Aaron Forsyth and a fellow teammate Mike Turian showed up at U.S. Nationals with it. They both made the top 8. They ended up playing for a spot on the national team. Forsyth won. And since then, Angry Hermit has taken over the world. Got played at Latin American Continental Championships, got played at the Asian Pacific Continental Championships, Euro Championships, won 2 of those Continental Championships. And Forsyth stuck with it. It worked for him at U.S. Regionals. That's how he got to Nationals in the first place. Worked for him at Nationals. And now here he is at the World Championships, playing for the championship in the team competition. Llanowar Elf, pretty good first turn for him.
Your turn. On your upkeep, tap your land.
Not to take anything away from these 2 players, Aaron Forsyth has been a pretty solid competitor for a while on the Pro Tour.
He's been on the Pro Tour from time to time. Finished 17th at Chicago a couple years ago. Finished in the money, another tour. Hasn't been able to stick on tour, but he's been around. People know who he is. And it's sort of been his breakout weekend. He did great in the individual competition at Worlds as well. He's actually only 1 match from the top 8 of the individual competition. Both he and Chris Benefell finished, right 1 match away.
Okay. Taking 1 point of damage.
Forsyth finished 22nd. Benefell finished somewhere in the top 16. So Forsyth plays Bird of Paradise. It's 1 mana creature. You can tap for a mana of any color you want. So Lau's trying to keep him stunted with that Rishadan port, but Forsyth's put both Llanowar Elf and Bird of Paradise into play.
Your turn.
Forsyth has 6 mana available. Attempts to cast Blastoderm. 5/5 untargetable creature. Only hangs around for 3 turns, but a lot of times that's long enough to hit your opponent for 15. If you hit him for 15, it's usually not that hard to punch through for the other 5.
Okay.
So he decides to save his counterspell for another day. Blastoderm comes into play. And Forsyth Llanowar Elf comes over for a little visit. Lau falls to 18.
During your attack step,
Oh, maybe not.
tap your force. Submerge it.
Sam Lau has a Submerge. Allows him to stick Forsyth Llanowar Elf back on top of his library. Pretty good blue card when you're playing against a green deck. If they've got a forest in play, doesn't cost you any mana to cast Submerge, puts a creature on top of their controller's library. So Llanowar Elf doesn't do any damage.
We talked to Aaron earlier about what it's like to play at Worlds.
Being on the American team, to me, is just the consummate experience of my Magic career. I've never been to the World Championships, and to come here, wave with the stars and stripes that I'm representing the country that invented the game, and that I'm coming in as the favorite to win, even though I've never been here before. It's just an amazing feeling.
The internet plays a significant role in this game. Players can talk strategy, check deck lists, or if they can't make it to Brussels, they can watch the championship via Cybercast. We now rejoin Game 2 of the match between Aaron Forsyth and Sam Lau. Forsyth is up a game, and Team USA needs him to win to force a tiebreaker.
Grim Monolith. That'll give Lau all the mana he needs. Now if he can come up with a Masticore or a Morphling, Grim Monolith will allow him to get it into play pretty quickly. That one card provides 3 mana when you tap it.
Don't do that.
There's 4 mana for Blastoderm number 2. Can Lau handle 2 Blastoderms?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Wow, Blastoderm comes into play.
Clear.
First Blastoderm comes over.
No blocks.
There you go, 5 points of life.
Take 5. You're on 14.
Boy, Blastoderm's just an amazing creature.
Sure. Go ahead.
One of the best creatures in the game, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah, these 2 Blastoderms right here in the center, they're a real problem for Lau to deal with. Lau needs like a Treachery and a Morphling or something like that to get him out of this mess.
Your turn.
Lau did nothing?
That's
what
right.
happens now?
After you pay that. Cradle.
2 Blastoderms are coming over. How does Sam Lau get out of this?
I don't know. That would put Lau at 3 if nothing else happens.
He needed to cast a Masticore or a Morphling or something last turn. All the pressure's on Forsyth.
Yeah.
Forsyth has to win just to send it into John Finkel's hands. Looks like he might do just that, though.
What better player's hands to bring it into other than John Finkel? Especially given that Finkel destroyed Ryan Fuller in the first match.
It's true. That's the one match the U.S. has won.
Going to 3.
Crunch. 11 points of damage. Lau is down to 3. All right, it looks like we're going to a playoff.
Game and match.
It all comes down to a tiebreaker match between U.S. national champion John Finkel and Canadian national champion Ryan Fuller. Welcome back to Brussels and the Magic the Gathering Team Championship. When our players aren't competing, they can step outside the Brussels exhibition hall and get a great look at Atomium, a structure which was built back in 1958 for the Expo. It all comes down to this, one match for the Magic the Gathering World Team Championship.
John Finkel currently leads this tiebreaker match 1-0. It's best 2 out of 3, so Ryan Fuller has his back against the wall. He doesn't seem real happy with this deck matchup. Finkel's seems to have all the answers. Fuller obviously not happy with his draw. But is it better than 6 cards? Finkel can smell victory. Trying to keep the smile off his face. No, you can't. Finkel swept Fuller 2-0 in the first portion of this tournament.
Makes me feel like a big
Aaron
man.
Forsyth was the only other team member to win a match, forcing this tiebreaker. Finkel trying to complete the sweep, trying to win the team competition for the United States of America. Sappers and Scary, pretty scary first turn for John Finkel. We could see second turn Metalworker, we could see second turn Tinker.
Yeah, absolutely. The deck Finkel's playing, Tinker, has some extremely explosive second turns, especially with a 2 mana land in play.
Yep.
Fuller plays turn 2, Pouncing Jaguar. He's going to be forced to spend part of his third turn paying the Echo cost. What's Finkel got? He's had the cards every time he's needed them so far. There's Voltaic Key and nothing else. No, clearly no Grim Monolith in his draw. Clearly no Metalworker in his draw. So not quite as explosive as the previous 3 games we've watched this matchast.
Cast Cradle.
Fuller plays guy's cradle.
Rushwood Leggett.
Oh, there's Rushwood Leggett. The Leggetts came in from the sideboard, but Finkel didn't play an island on his first turn, so
Right.
Fuller hasn't had the chance to play them until now. This is third turn.
Looks like Fuller's having a big third turn.
Now all he does is activate Village. Of course, that's still pretty good. Comes over for 5 on turn 3.
15.
That's not bad after the mulligan.
Your turn.
Go to
3.
Pretty solid draw. If he's got any artifact removal to back it up with, he's very much in the game. Or if Finkel doesn't have any threats, Finkel might be in trouble.
I think we'll get a glimpse of the strength of Finkel's actual draw here.
Fuller's starting to smile. It's like, maybe. I think I can.
I noticed you're a little bit quieter now.
I'm just trying to think I'm going to kill you.
All right, Finkel's got 4 mana. That's enough for Thran Dynamo. You can tap that for 3 and untap it with Voltaic Key. Get up to 5 mana.
3 mana.
Nice. Grim Monolith and a Tangle Wire. He's going to save that Grim Monolith for next turn. It'll tap for 3 mana.
Tap these 4.
Just to remind you where we are, Team USA and Team Canada split their 4 matches 2-2. That sent this championship into a tiebreaker match between the team captains. John Finkel is up a game trying to win the title on behalf of the Stars and Stripes, and the playoff will continue in just a few minutes.
Dear Magic the Gathering, I'm returning your stupid goblin card. He's weak. Can't you make him less of a weenie? Signed, Jason Black.
Giant growth.
Magic the Gathering, the trading card game.
Well, Jason, what do you think?
Welcome back to the tiebreaker match between John Finkel of Team USA and Ryan Fuller of Team Canada. Finkel is up a game in this best 2 out of 3 match, and now he's trying to decide what to do with all of his artifact mana here in Game 2.
3, 6, 7, that's 9 mana worth. Blue and some colorless, that smells like a Tinker.
Tinker, sacrificing Grim Monolith?
Yep. Bye-bye Grim Monolith. What's he going to upgrade it into?
It's hard to say. It might be Crumbling Sanctuary. Oh,
Nope.
it's Masticore.
How about Masticore? Tinker allows him to sacrifice an artifact, get any one of his choice. He gets Masticore. He's got 1 mana left in his pool, so he's got enough mana to kill several of Ryan's creatures. Can he kill both of them? Let's see.
Yeah.
1 left floating right now. 4, 5, 6. Yep. Just enough mana to kill both those creatures, and the Tangle Wire will force Fuller to sacrifice, to tap all his lands.
3 mana? 6 mana?
He just always does have all the answers.
Yeah, that's Finkel.
Math always seems to work out perfectly in his world. And now Fuller gets to do nothing next turn.
Your turn.
Tangle Wire keeps all of Fuller's lands tapped.
I'm sure the United States team is extremely happy that no one other than John Finkel's playing this tiebreak. Not only is the matchup good, but he's also the best player in the world, hands down.
Stack responsible Tangle Wire, stack responsible moving token. Yep. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, he's counting again.
So, tap these 2.
And he's counting using numbers that you usually don't want to hear.
7.
Yeah.
Attack for 4.
I'll take that.
16.
What am I at?
13.
Is John Finkel the best player in the world? Well, we'll find out soon if he's going to win the World Championship. Finkel trying to win both the team competition and the individual championship this weekend.
The last player to even get close to something like that was Gabe Sang.
Well, there's Phyrexian
9.
Processor. How much life do you think Finkel should play? How big does he want those tokens to be?
Not sure. Either 5 or 7. Probably 7.
Sure.
Looks like he paid 4, going down to 9 life.
Your turn.
Fuller doesn't even have a land to play. Just hasn't been able to play his game.
Make a minion token?
Here comes a minion token. Finkel's upgraded his minion tokens for this game.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't... I mean, Ryan Fuller is like no slouch.
No, he's a great player.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you've never seen Ryan Fuller play before, you'd think he weren't very good. But, I mean, this is just John Finkel and his Tinker deck just absolutely destroying a great player, Ryan Fuller.
16-9, correction.
Yeah, Fuller knows he's beat. It looks like the United States is going to win the world's team competition for the 5th time in 6 years. Captain John Finkel within sight of the clinching this tiebreaker game.
Counter gets removed. Tango gets tapped. Let's get this card to master. Draw a card.
And Fuller concedes. The United States wins. John Finkel wins. Congratulations to the U.S. national team. They win the world's team competition. Team USA takes home $22,000. It took a little more than the 45 minutes Finkel predicted, but he and his boys wrote their own chapter in the dynasty that is Team USA.
I'm now joined by John Finkel, captain of Team USA, victorious once again. You guys are now 5 out of 6. Was it ever in doubt?
It was in doubt for a little bit. We needed Aaron to pull up the last one to send it to tiebreaker, but I knew Aaron Forsyth could do it. He's tight, he's good, and he had a great matchup.
Were you surprised that you had to force it into the tiebreaker?
I wasn't that surprised. I thought there was a decent chance. Gabe Sang is a great player. I thought he would pull out his match. And Chris versus the Mauler could have gone either way. So but I was happy if it went to tiebreaker because I thought it would be very hard for me to lose to Ryan.
The confidence was there the whole time, wasn't it?
The confidence was there. I'm playing for the Stars and Stripes. I got to be confident.
So for Randy Buehler and Brian Hacker, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from Brussels. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.